Life Disciplines Projects. What is Life Disciplines Projects? Life Disciplines Projects, which I'll shorten to LDP, is a life management framework. Life management is the art of creating the mobility of character and aspiration through planning and action. Why life management? Everyone can benefit from life management because it brings with it a sense of meaning, direction, and agency. This is especially important in the modern world of distractions, where everyone and everything, including all those video recommendations on the bottom right, are trying to grab your attention. Which video do you watch next? Should you even watch another one? Should you eat that cake in the fridge? These questions and more can be answered through the lens of LDP. How is LDP? LDP relies on two major concepts: alignment and friction. Alignment is when you consider if something is relevant and important to the bigger picture. For example, a serious in-training chef buying pans to cook is considered aligned. However, buying a 3-in-1 avocado slicer would go against their training values. Friction is the reluctance to take action despite the action needing to be taken. Friction leads to procrastination, and I'm sure that all computer science students have experienced this through their programming assignments. A lot of friction is psychological. For example, assume the following. There are no dire consequences for failure. All work has equal importance and urgency. Given an hour of free time, would you like to work on a task expected to take 2 hours to complete, 1 hour to complete, or 30 minutes to complete? I think most people will gravitate towards the 30-minute task. This is because we tend to favor less work and want to see the reward, that being progress, sooner rather than later. If we expand this concept to include importance, when the 2-hour task becomes top priority, one might procrastinate and prefer the 30-minute one, or something else entirely. And to those who can do the 2 hours of work without any hesitation, please send help. One of the several philosophies of LDP is that you need to build a system that works for you. What I provide is only as effective and easy as how you adapt it to yourself. You should always be asking these two questions. Why is something the way it is? And how can I transform it so it works even better for my needs? Be curious and skeptical of everything, even of all the concepts I present to you. So what really is LDP? The core of LDP contains life, disciplines, habits, and projects. There are also tasks that interact with the core and resources, your knowledge, that interacts with the entirety of LDP. Arrows represent that X is created from Y. That is, projects are created from disciplines, disciplines are created from life, and habits are created from life and disciplines. Tasks and the core create each other, and resources in the entirety of LDP do this as well. Life. You have character, you have ideals, you have values. To you, family may be biological, or it may be those who you are intimate with. You use these elements to understand the world. This is your life. In LDP, your life is defined by pillars and a dynamic. A pillar is a core component, which can be a value or ideal that you strongly resonate with. For example, the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. A dynamic is the emerging effect of all pillars combined, who you want to be. For example, a loving parent of wisdom and pride who puts their children above all. Disciplines. You have knowledge and you have skills. You use these elements to survive and thrive. You may have skills in finance, science, literature, etc. As you grow, so do your knowledge and skills. These are your disciplines. Likewise with life. Disciplines are also defined by pillars and a dynamic. But disciplines are special. They provide direction towards your goal in life. In LDP, we designate a few disciplines as your ikigai, your reason for being. This is a Japanese concept that aims to define a discipline that satisfies the 4 following ideas. You love what you're doing. You believe the world needs it. You are skilled in it. And finally, you can get compensated from it, either through money or through some other means. It's possible to have multiple ikigais. However, they should all point towards the same direction. If not, you may find yourself not reaching full potential within your effective lifetime. Disciplines should be aligned with your life such that your knowledge and skills make sense with your character. Habits. Life and disciplines cannot exist without a routine set of behaviors. An artist will draw something every day. A chef will serve their customers through the same series of steps. A parent will always have a child in the corner of their eye. These are your habits. Habits are aligned with your life or a discipline. For example, someone who has the discipline of being a chef could have the habit of consistently tasting their food before serving. Projects. Day by day, week by week, month by month, you have milestones of progress. Perhaps you renovated your room, fully restocked your kitchen, or completed a big assignment for school. These are your projects. If disciplines provide the direction, projects provide agency and mobility. Projects are different in that instead of pillars and a dynamic, they have an objective to define when the project is done and completion criteria, which represents incremental goals. This ensures that projects remain clear, simple, and small. To lessen friction, my suggestion is that projects should be no longer than a month long. Projects should be aligned with a discipline. Tasks. Minute by minute, hour by hour, you are doing things. They move you through time and hopefully towards something you actually want. On days you may find that you did nothing meaningful, making it worse by stuffing yourself with junk food. It's important that these habits make sense with your projects, disciplines, life, and habits. These are your tasks. Tasks should be especially clear, simple, and small. You should immediately be able to tell if a task is completed or not with a simple yes or no question. They should be straightforward, a simple action, and should be small in scope and duration. I suggest that tasks should be framed no longer than 2 hours of estimated work to reduce friction. Tasks should be aligned with whatever the task is related to. Resources. Earlier for disciplines, I mentioned that you have knowledge. In LDP, this is termed resources. Resources can be any form of knowledge, that being within your brain, on a piece of paper, or on a file. You use knowledge to build your system of life management, and the system will give back to you knowledge and much more. Actually doing alignment. Sometimes you may generate tasks that cause your direction to go adrift. A project loses its reasoning, a discipline no longer makes sense, a task is random gibberish. In software development, this is called feature creep, when planned content goes beyond the original vision of the project. In literature, this is called fluff, also known as bull. Going adrift can and will happen over time. Alignment corrects for this drift. When doing alignment, you generally want to ask the following question. Does this item make sense given its context? Context refers to what the item was originally aligned to. If you find that the item makes sense, you're good to proceed. If not, you may want to consider discarding or modifying the item so that you stay focused. The habit of doing routine alignment is highly recommended. I suggest the following habits, but you do you. This is the framework of life, disciplines, projects. Your life is to make sense of the world. Disciplines create direction towards life. Projects create mobility towards disciplines. Habits sustain and progress life and disciplines. Tasks provide immediate actionable items. And resources propel an infinitely growing system. My next video will present an actual application of LDP. I will be using a note-taking application called Obsidian. If you want to look ahead, the source material is already implemented within a folder for Obsidian to handle. Check the description below for the GitHub which hosts the project. This is Uwe, a solo indie game developer with the objective of creating an experience. My goal is to make people cry, not because they're sad, but because they've experienced the beautiful. Making life disciplines projects was my way to set up production for my games and to realize why I want to make games. I plan to document my journey of game development plus more. If you think you might be interested, consider liking the video and subscribing. And to show further support, consider donating to me on Ko-fi. You can also follow me on Twitter, @UweDev. Thanks for watching, and I hope I made your day a little bit better.